Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex and this is Big Baby Reviews. Today is Sam Kieth Day and that's why we're looking at the latest issue in his The MAXX run at Image Comics. This is issue number 2. Before we move on with the issue though, I do want to mention we here at Big Baby Reviews are on the road to our first kind of personal milestone of 250 subs. So please, if you're watching and enjoying the videos and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Hit the subscribe button below. Really helps the channel out, helps motivate us to create more content, and helps get us out there hopefully to other people who have the same interest and would want to maybe check out some of my videos and content. So thank you so much for that. Without further ado, the MAXX number 2. By Sam Kieth. What can I say about this issue? First of all, the cover looks awesome. Sam Kieth's art, I've told you before, is my first exposure to kind of different art or different considerations in art as opposed to the image, most of the image founders, right? I do feel like he has more of a classic illustration background that he then kind of exaggerates and plays around with in the comic book medium. Just the rough kind of inking he's got on the outside here, opposed to the finer kind of more classic hatching that he does on the art here. His art always has a bit of a Frank Frazetta vibe for sure. He's definitely inspired by him, but also I just he would have fit really well, I find, in the 70s in kind of heavy metal magazine. And there's always, I couldn't quite put my finger on it as a kid because I didn't really know what psychedelia or psychedelic even meant. But there's definitely that quality to some of the Sam Kieth art in this issue and in all issues of the MAXX. It kind of gets really out there. It's already starting off pretty out there and eventually gets so out there that as a kid I just can't follow it anymore. I don't really understand what's going on, or I'm not that interested. But kudos at him for trying something kind of really different and out there. But these earlier issues are definitely a favorite of mine. So good looking cover. Let's crack her open and have a look inside. Story Pencils Inc. Sam Kieth. Dialogue Bill Messner-Loebs. Finishes Jim Sinclair, so he's kind of a inking assistant, I guess. Lettering Mike Heisler and Kevin Cunningham. Colors Steve Oliff and all the optics. And once again, Chance Wolfe designed the logo. So Sam Kieth really taking advantage now of the fact that he's doing his own stuff. Doesn't have an editor bothering him and trying to keep him in line or anything. So he's really trying some interesting panel shapes. Clearly someone who just does not like the square panel shape and wants to do everything to kind of avoid it. I really like the dirty kind of mucked up lettering he's done here on the side. I think it looks really good. It's very Sam Kiethy in the textures and in the dirtiness of it and the ink splotches. And even these little textures that he adds in usually with the white on top, I think looks awesome. So our friend Julie here discovers one of the Izzes in her fridge and I guess gets taken away by the Izzes. So we're back here to the gas station from last issue where the MAXX is fighting Mr. Gone on the roof. And basically we're hearing this from the point of view of the guy here gassing up his car. So I think that's kind of an interesting perspective to start the issue off with. A little bit different from other comics. And then right here, I always thought this was funny. So he sees... I'll read it. That's funny. There's an old woman in that station wagon who looks just like my grandmother. In fact, they all do. They all look just alike. So it's explained in the comic that for some reason, regular people see the Izzes as something else than those black little scary creatures, right? And we've got this tarp kind of, falling around this guy from the roof here. He's not quite sure what it is. At some point he pulls on it and it pulls back up and... basically they bust through what looks like the gas station's anus here onto the roof of the car. And then you get a cool MAXX shot here with the big feet, right? All the Sam Kieth staples are there, the ripped up costume, the textures, cool textures, a bit of dirtiness. And I mean, look at the clever way he's drawn Mr. Gone, who usually has a huge kind of intricate cape and stuff. Here, just a bunch of lines because he's going so fast and off to the next page. And I think that's a really cool looking splash page right there. Getting a lot of cool MAXX shots in this issue and a lot of good inking, I would say. A lot of this is added in with white media, right? Some of it's drawn and then some of it, like for example this, definitely a lot of white media added on top of the black inks. Sam Kieth, once you know that, some of his art choices, I guess, become more obvious or you understand how he's doing it. Here's another section where I think definitely some white was added in here just to create a bit of distinction between the two, right? Help the contour kind of pop out a bit, which is smart. Getting some Sam Kieth level cartooning. I like this, you know, he's pushed him down so hard, it's kind of like he rocked him or he's vibrating, right? So you get that jagged repetition of the same line. I think that's clever. Sometimes he just goes fully angular with the kind of the profile of the MAXX, which is interesting as well. Sometimes it's very smooth and curved, right? Great shot here, I think, overall. Always wondered about the texture on his boots, what exactly that was supposed to be. But again, you know, if it looks cool, who cares? Great shot of Gone here. Kind of a gag where, you know, he thinks he's pulling a victim out of the car here and threatening her. And then MAXX just kind of crunches her head. Basically kills her, it seems like, right? So Gone just pulls out a gun and shoots him. Leaves him there on his way off. And as the MAXX is talking to the character who was there gassing up, right? He mentions, that was really smart how you realized that was my CPR practice dummy. You did realize that was my CPR practice dummy, right, mister? Right? And of course, all right. So very kind of ambiguous and odd too. You know, is the MAXX just willing to kill random victims or people who are innocent? You know, just an odd kind of moment there amongst the many odd moments in the MAXX, right? So you've got the Izzes all of a sudden, you know, attacking the MAXX, but, you know, all he sees is a bunch of little grannies with sharp teeth, which is hilarious. I mean, just this image here. And, of course, continuing on with, you know, his more interesting, you know, decorative layouts. This one is something he's brought back from issue 1, right? These kind of almost puzzle shapes that he uses just to make the contour a little more interesting, right? It's kind of ballsy, I think, and bold to have a bit come in here and to hide some of the image, but he's doing it just in the right spot so you're not missing the essential, which obviously in this scene is the MAXX, right? The main character. So I think that's some clever design, and he's got some of them popping out here, like just very interesting. And again, I'll mention it, most of the Sam Kieth layouts and stuff in this issue is pretty psychedelic, I think. And the colors are good, you know. Steve Oliff, not going too crazy with all the computer effects and stuff. He was always one of the better computer colorers, and creating a good mood, you know, a little more sunny and warm in the real world, and then gets kind of cold when we move into Julie's psyche, excuse me. Later on, we'll learn a little bit more about Julie's, you know, trauma and her dark side. So that's kind of a bit of a preview here. Love that. I guess it's kind of implied that we're in the outback. Most times when the MAXX has this, I think that's a mane of hair and this kind of tribal accoutrement. He's in what he considers the underworld or the Australian outback, but not the one that we know, obviously. Kind of an imagined version of it. The bamboo and the wood, and, you know, the kind of tribal tying up of you know, for making tools, and this feathers and stuff that he wears around his neck become part of the decoration and the mood of the scene. Still trying those weird shapes here, lots of them. I'm not going to comment too much on this one here. So I got to think that he's drawing kind of the important elements that would be maybe in a square panel, and then redrawing and just emphasizing what's important. It's just an interesting choice, and it works. It's not hard to read. It's clear. You know, you have good contrast between the light colors inside these panels and the darker ones and darker hues in these ones. More interesting layouts, round, avoiding those square panels most of the time. And of course we discover here, you know, funny with some of the themes of this whole series as we move on, as pertaining to ladies and trauma and assault and stuff, that he would choose to have her in this position here specifically. But I guess he's trying to drive home that point somehow. You know, it's a nice kind of slightly, you know, pin-up-y shot, I guess. But he does, you know, have those shots where he's, you know, talking about ladies' imperfections, right? They're not perfect. Obviously, he's some sort of creepo, right? Kidnapping women. And that's what they're talking about here. Always thought this was a very cool, very effective silhouette, right? The drama of it. The fact that's at an angle, all of it just kind of really works. There's another odd shape there. Some sort of saggy boob. But of course, Julie is not going to let herself be another victim here with this guy, so eventually we get a very Sam Kieth page here with the textures again, the roughness. I love it. You know, it's almost like he was doing dripping on the artwork there. He's really ballsy when it comes to that. He's willing to try stuff like that. And if I'm not mistaken, Julie in next issue, we'll find out, actually did pop his head. Metaphorically, we see her doing it here to the doll. Once again, this dark Julie universe, right? Cold blue colors in opposition to the real world in the MAXX universe that is full of mostly warm colors, right? So I think the colors really work on the MAXX as well and add to the mood so much. So it really complements the art. You know, too much computer coloring on Sam Kieth would probably look really bad. But I think the way it's done here is in good taste and works really well. And then, of course, one more cool, awesome shot of the MAXX at the end there. And sometimes he doesn't even define most of the hand here, right, with the spike and stuff. So, you know, just ballsy in all of his choices. You know, he's willing, again, to try really weird, different things. And I guess because of his style being inherently different and weird, maybe a little bit from others, it seems to work for him most of the time. So there you go. You got the letters page. We're not going to go through that, right? Always fun to see some of the fan art that people would send, right? I remember thinking I could do better than that, and I couldn't. But, you know, that was the right attitude to have when you're a kid and you're learning to draw, or trying to learn to draw. And a nice cool preview of our next issue that we're going to see in a week. So there you go. That's my look at the MAXX issue number 2. Do you like this issue? Do you like the art? Any questions or comments, please hit me up in the comments below. Let me know if you know anything that I'd want to know about this issue, anything that I haven't mentioned. And I hope everyone out there who's viewing the videos has a great day.
Like! Subscribe! Like! Subscribe!
King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KingComics.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.